Hi everyone and welcome to another chapter of Matilda. Yesterday's chapter was really good. I wonder what today's chapter is going to be about. Now, in yesterday's chapter, Trunchbull was getting really cross because her plan didn't work, so I wonder if she'll be raging and angry today. So yesterday's chapter was called Bruce Bogtrotter and the Cake, and today's chapter is called Lavender. So this is about Matilda's friend. Oh, I hope something bad doesn't happen to her. In the middle of the first week of Matilda's first term, Miss Honey said to her class, "I have some really important news for you, so listen carefully. You too, Matilda. Put that book down for a moment and pay attention." The small, eager faces looked up and listened. "It's the headmistress's custom," Miss Honey went on, "to take over each class for one period each week. She does this with every class in the school, and each class has a fixed day and a fixed time. Ours is always 2 o'clock on Thursday afternoons, immediately after lunch. So tomorrow at 2 o'clock, Miss Trunchbull will be taking over for me for one lesson. I shall be here as well, of course, but only as a silent witness. Is that understood?" So basically what's happening is Miss Honey will still be there, but she's a silent witness, that's what it says. So she won't be able to say anything or do anything. "Yes, Miss Honey," they chirped. "A word of warning to you all," Miss Honey said. "The headmistress is very strict about everything. Make sure your clothes are clean, your faces are clean, your hands are clean. Speak only when spoken to. When she asks you questions, stand up at once before you answer it. Never argue with her, never answer back, never try and be funny. If you do, you will make her angry. And then, our headmistress, when she gets angry, then you had better watch out." So Miss Honey is very caring because what she's doing is she's warning them, isn't she? She's giving them, saying to them, don't argue with her. If you have to talk, stand up, and she's warning them so they don't make mistakes. "You can say that again. You can say that again," Lavender murmured. "I'm quite sure," Miss Honey said, "that she'll be testing you on what you meant to have been learning this week, which is your 2 times table, so I strongly advise you to swat up when you get home tonight. Get your mother or father to hear you on it." So she's even telling them that they're probably going to have a test tomorrow, so make sure you know that your stuff. "What will she test us on?" someone said. "What else will she test us on?" someone said. "Spelling," Miss Honey said. "Try and remember everything you've learned in the last few days. And one more thing, a jug of water and a glass must always be on the table where the headmistress comes in. She never takes a lesson without that. Now, who will be responsible for seeing that it is there?" "I will," said Lavender at once. "Very well, Lavender," Miss Honey said. "It will be your job to go to the kitchen to get a jug and fill it with water and put it on the table here with an clean empty glass just before the lesson starts." "What if the jug's not in the kitchen?" Lavender asked. "There's a dozen headmistress jugs and glasses in the kitchen," Miss Honey said. "They are used all over the school." "I won't forget," Lavender said. "I promise I won't." Already Lavender's scheming mind was going over the possibilities that this water job had opened up for her. She longed to do something truly heroic. She admired the older girl, Hortensia, to distraction for the daring deeds she had performed in school. She also admired Matilda, who had sworn to secrecy about the parrot job which she had brought off her home, and also the great hair oil switch with the bleaching her father's hair. It was her turn now to become a heroine, if only she could have come up with a brilliant plot. So now Lavender's decided that she wants to get in on the action. She wants to play some tricks. On the way home from school that afternoon, she began to mull over some various possibilities, and she went I can't read today. When at last the germ of brilliant idea hit her, she began to expand on it and lay her plans with the same kind of care that the Duke of Wellington had done before the Battle of Waterloo. Admittedly, the enemy on this occasion was not Napoleon, but you would never have got anyone at Crunchium Hall to admit that the headmistress was less formidable foe than the famous Frenchman. Great skill would have to be exercised, Lavender told herself, and great secrecy observed that she was to come out with this exploit alive. There was a muddy pond at the bottom of Lavender's garden. This was the home of a colony of newts. The newt is fairly common in English ponds. It's not too often to be seen by people because it's a shy and murky creature. It's an incredibly ugly and gruesome looking animal, rather like a baby crocodile, but with a shorter head. It's quite harmless, but it doesn't look like it. It's about 6 inches long, and it's very slimy and greenish grey skin on top with an orange coloured belly underneath. In fact, it's an amphibian, which means it can live in and out of water. That evening, Lavender went to the bottom of the garden, determined to catch a newt. They are swift-moving animals, and it was not easy to get hold of. She lay on the bank for a long time, waiting impatiently until she spotted a whopper, which is a really big one. Then, using the her school hat as a net, she scooped it and caught it. She lined her pencil case with pondweed, ready to receive the creature. But she had discovered it was not easy to get a newt out of one's hat and into a pencil case box. It wriggled and squirmed like quicksilver, and apart from that, the box was only just long enough to take it. When she did get it at last, she had to be careful not to trap its tail when when she closed it. The boy next door, called Rupert Entwistle, had told her that if you chopped off a newt's tail, the tail stayed alive and grew into another newt 10 times bigger than the first one. It could be the size of an alligator. Lavender didn't quite believe that, but she was not prepared to risk it happening. So the little boy next door, Rupert, is actually a little bit correct, because it says when a newt's tail gets chopped off, the tail stays alive. But that is actually true. When you have a lizard, when its tail gets chopped off, or a newt, its tail keeps moving and squirming around. But the tail doesn't grow into another newt. What happens is a newt grows a new tail because it's a protection mechanism. So if an animal was going and grabbed a newt's tail, the tail would fall off to make sure the newt doesn't get eaten. Quite clever. Eventually, she managed to slide the lid of the pencil box right home, and the newt was hers. Then, on second thoughts, she opened the lid just a tiniest fraction so that the creature could breathe. The next day, she carried the secret weapon to her school in her satchel. She was tingling with excitement. She was longing to tell Matilda about the plan of battle. In fact, she wanted to tell the whole class, but she finally decided to tell no one. It was better that way, because then no one knew, even when she put them under most severe torture, would be able to name her as a culprit. So what she's doing is she's saying she's going to tell nobody. And the reason she's going to tell nobody is because if Mr. Trunchbull found out and put them under torture, so like kept questioning them, then no one would be able to crack and say it was Lavender. So she's keeping it a secret because she thinks it's better for everybody and also for her. Lunchtime came. Today it was sausages and baked beans, Lavender's favourite, but she couldn't eat it. "Are you feeling all right, Lavender?" Miss Honey asked from the head of the table. "I had such a huge breakfast," Lavender said. "I really couldn't eat a thing." So she is feeling probably a little bit tense, a little bit nervous, maybe a little bit excited as well. What do you think she's feeling? Oh, good one. Right, let's carry on. Immediately after lunch, she dashed out to the kitchen and found one of Trunchbull's famous jugs. It was a large, bulging thing that made of blue glazed pottery. Lavender filled it half full with water and carried it together with a glass into the classroom and set it on the teacher's table. The classroom was still empty. Quick as a flash, Lavender got her pencil box from her satchel, slid open the lid just a tiny bit. The newt was lying quite still. With great care, she held the box over the neck of the jug and pulled the lid fully open and tipped the newt in. There was a plop, and it landed in the water. Then it thrashed around wildly for a few seconds before settling down. And now, to make the newt feel even more at home, Lavender decided to give it all the pondweed from the pencil box as well. The deed was all done. It was all ready to put her pencil back in her rather damp pencil box and return it to its correct place on her desk. Then she went out and joined the others in the playground until it was time for the lesson to begin. So it's leaving us again on a bit of a cliffhanger. I spoke about this before. A cliffhanger is, so here's a cliff and it drops down. So we're reading the story, we were here, and now we're suddenly dangling over the edge, but we don't know what's going to happen. We have to wait until tomorrow. It feels like you're on the edge of a cliff because you really want to know what happens. So let's have a look at the picture. The picture shows that, first of all, it's not a see-through jug. That would be important because otherwise Trunchbull would see the newt and the pondweed. It's like a blue china. It says here it was made of blue glazed pottery. So it's like a blue pottery mug, like a blue china mug. And so Lavender has put it in there, but no one else knows. So I wonder if the Trunchbull will know it's Lavender, or I wonder if she will maybe think it's Matilda because she doesn't really like Matilda. Oh, I don't know. Maybe the newt won't go in the glass. Oh, lots of things to talk about. Right, make sure you write in the comments what you think is going to happen. And I'll see you tomorrow for a really exciting chapter of Matilda. Bye for now.